There are so many agreements that we make with ourselves that hinder our ability to love ourselves. So, on this episode of Love My Body, Love Myself, we're going to talk about the four agreements and relate it to how to self-love. So, stick around. Welcome, everyone, to Love My Body, Love Myself. I'm your host, Alicia Couri. I am super duper, I'm always excited, but I'm super duper excited for this show because this book is phenomenal. It's amazing. And I want to jump right into it with you. But first, I want to quickly do some housekeeping. I want to get some quick things taken care of. So if you are watching us on Facebook, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Those of you who are on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, thank you for coming on and joining us tonight for Love My Body, Love Myself. This is an important topic tonight, and I would want to really invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/C/Alicia Couri. And also, I would love for you to join our Facebook group. So if you're on Facebook and you're watching on Facebook, go ahead and join our Facebook group. It's facebook.com/groups/LMBLM. And that's for Love My Body, Love Myself. We got, thank you so much. Hey, Karen, thank you for joining us tonight. This is going to be a phenomenal topic as we talk about the four agreements. But again, going to finish the housekeeping. So, Love My Body, Love Myself. This show is sponsored by FAMU Mary and Audacious Concepts, Inc. And the show is produced by Red Carpet CEO. So, let me quickly share a little bit about FAMU Mary, and then I'm going to come back and share some more, and then we're going to dive into our topic. So give me 1 second.
FAMU's Mary. Educate, learn, talk.
Yes, FAMU Mary is all about the legal, educating people on the legal, lawful use of medical marijuana. What is legal and lawful and what is not. So go to go to Mary. Let me put it up on the screen for you. Go to Mary, MMERI.famu.edu for more information. They have a state of cannabis talk that they do on the site. So go get the information you need to learn all about medical marijuana and how it can benefit you. Now, hey, Couri. Hi, thank you for watching. Thank you for joining us tonight. Let me see. What else do I want to share with you? If you want to be a guest on this show or any of the other shows that we produce, so we have Love My Body, Love Myself. We have Small Business Saturday Shout Out on Red Carpet CEO. We have Unleash Your Audacious Confidence. And we also produce a podcast called Leading with Audacious Confidence. So if you want to be on any of our shows, you can go ahead and email support@aliciacouri.com. support@aliciacouri.com so we can get you all the information that you need to be a guest on the show. So Small Business Saturday Shout Out happens on the first and third Saturdays of every month at 6 p.m. Eastern. And this show is at 6 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday. And Unleash Your Audacious Confidence is on Mondays at 5 p.m. Eastern on winwinwomen.tv. If you'd like to connect with me, you can connect with me on social media, alicia360.com. Please come connect with me. I'd love to stay connected with you and share all this wonderful all the wonderful things that we all have going on with ourselves. Hey, Philip. Super Saturday shout out. You're on your way to yeah, Saturday shout out. I'm looking forward to you actually booking time to be a guest on the show. So thank you. Now, all right. Are you ready for this topic on the four agreements, on agreeing, um, self love, creating self love through the agreement? Because we make so many agreements with ourselves that are not in alignment with the truth of who we are, and it really impacts our ability to love ourselves. It impacts our ability to see ourselves truthfully, and um, and so I wanted to do this show about the four agreements that's in the book and how they can really help you build self love. So, listen, this is open forum tonight. I have no specific guest. I'm going to be doing most of the talking. But if you have an opinion on these four agreements, I want you to put me in the comments so I can bring you on. I'm going to bring you on live. So put me in the comments if you want to come on live with me. If you're camera ready and all of that, and you want to come and join the show, yay! Say me, and I will bring you. I'll send you the link. I'll private message you the link to come on. Yay, Karen! So I'm gonna send Karen the link to come on in and be a part of the show. So first of all, I'm going to read, the glasses have to come on. I'm going to read two things. First, I'm going to read a quote by Leland Val Vander Wall that says, "The degree to which a person can grow is directly proportional to the amount of truth they can accept about themselves without running away." This is one of those shows that's going to tell you the truth. We're going to share some truth, and whether you can, take it in and then make the shift will depend on how much of this truth you can accept about yourself. So the four agreements, the first agreement is be impeccable with your word. The second agreement is don't take things personally. The third agreement is don't make assumptions. The fourth agreement is always do your best. So I'm going to start and just read from the book. And then I'm going to bring, hey, Eric, how are you? um, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going to read from the book on, all right, the introduction and then the agreement. So it says, everything we do in life is based on the agreements we have made, agreements with ourselves, with other people, with society, and with God. But the most important agreements are the ones we make with ourselves. In these agreements, we tell ourselves who we are, how to behave, what is possible, what is impossible. We say, this is what I am. I can do certain things and some things I cannot do. One single agreement is not such a problem, but we have many agreements that make us suffer and fail in life. Ooh, we have many agreements that make us suffer and fail in life. The agreements that come from fear require us to expend a lot of energy, but the agreements that come from love help us to conserve energy and gain even more energy. If we want to live a life of joy, we have to find the courage to break the agreements that limit us and choose new agreements based on love. When we are finally ready to do this, there are four agreements we can make that help us reclaim our personal freedom. So I want to bring, Karam is here in the green room. So I'm going to bring Karam on and we're going to talk about the introduction I just read. And because I know she loves this book as well. And let's get going. Hey, Karam.
Hi, how are
Hi.
you?
I'm great. Thank you so much
I
for
do
raising your
love
hand
this
and
one.
saying me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love this book. I think there's so much richness in this
Yeah.
book.
So what about the agreements that we make that limit us? What has been your experience with that? And even if you want to go to, because you coach clients
Mhm.
um, through a lot of this stuff too. So what has been your experience with the limiting beliefs that we have?
Well, first of all, I love that we can see it. Like I have a student that said, when we put on a different pair of lens, right? A different pair of glasses, most people don't look as their limiting beliefs as agreements. And
Mm,
the agreement is no different than a belief that you have embodied that was never really yours to embody, but
mm,
unconsciously, and because of the outside influence or how you were brought up, it doesn't matter. Anything on the outside of your core um, said something and you embodied it, you took it in,
mhm.
and that is a limiting belief. It is an agreement that you unconsciously made and accepted to take it on,
Yeah.
and that's powerful. And then when you look at it, it's like, oh my gosh, how many agreements, right? How
How
many
many?
agreements have
But
we have we
I can
embodied?
remember. I can remember the very first time I realized I had limiting beliefs. Right? I, I had never heard that term before,
Hmm.
probably 12, 13 years. I had never heard about limiting beliefs. I
Yeah.
just thought belief is a belief. I my reference to beliefs on believing was all positive. Like the
Hmm.
beliefs that you have are all positive. Like I believe in God. I believe in um not the tooth fairy, but I believe in the goodness of mankind, like
Hmm.
those were things I thought were beliefs.
Yeah.
I had no awareness that a belief can be limiting, damaging, destructive. I I didn't realize
Yeah.
that these were agreements, like you said, that we made with ourselves, but they were beliefs. And so, just like you said in the beginning, and this is Don Miguel Ruiz, by the way. I didn't mention the author, Don Miguel Ruiz, when he said that we believe what these agreements, we tell ourselves who we are, how to behave, what is possible and what is impossible. Like impossibility was never to me a bad belief. Like it wasn't a limiting belief. It was like it was just, oh no, I could never do that.
Hmm. Yeah.
But I didn't realize that that was something that was implanted in me that created that limit
Absolutely.
for me.
And I
I mean,
have to
that
say,
was
I'm the same with you. I think it's the same for me. For me, it was about that many years ago, also. And it's just the awareness, right? The perspective of
yeah.
looking at something with different eyes, with a different sense of awareness. And that's the beauty of it. And, most of the times, like when you start to become aware and you start to recognize that, and it, not to move forward or anything, but you start to recognize that the words that you say, the internal conversations that we are having. How many times do we, as simple as just, it could be as simple as just looking at yourself in the mirror. It's like, oh, I need to lose weight. Like,
Ugh,
oh, I need to,
you
right?
don't even have to say the words. It's just the ugh.
Exactly.
It's just the, ugh. That has broken an agreement. You have just broken
Yeah.
one of these
Like
agreements,
that is an agreement that you have embodied, that you're not even conscious that you embodied, and you don't know how
and,
big, how
and it's
how
limiting.
impactful it is and how limiting it is. Yes.
Mm.
It
So
affects your mood. It affects everything about you.
everything. So since you mentioned word, I'm going to read the first part of be impeccable with your word, which is the first agreement, and it's the most important one, and it's the most difficult one to honor. To be impeccable with your word. It sounds simple. It sounds very simple, and I have to tell you, honest, I have to confess, when I first read this book, I thought, of course, all this it makes so much sense in my head, but I didn't allow it to really sink into my heart and understand I was doing the opposite of everything. I was thinking I was doing it right consciously, but my actions, I was doing all these things wrong. Like I wasn't doing it wrong. So
Mhm.
so I did not have awareness when I first read the book. And then I picked it up again. I was like, oh, wow. So let
Yeah.
me read this first part and then we'll talk about it. Why your word? Your word is the power that you have to create. Your word is the gift that comes directly from God. Through the word, you manifest your intent, regardless of what language you speak, which goes right back to what we said. Even just the ugh, you
Hmm.
don't even have to say the words. The intent says it all,
Exactly.
right? The intent says it all. Um, what you dream, what you feel, and what you really are will all be manifested through the word. Now, this is my aside here because God created us to be a speaking spirit. And if you don't believe in God, um, you know, this is what I believe. And I read from the Bible that says that our words are spirit and life. So they have the creative power. He created us in his likeness and in his image. So he has the power to speak and create, and he gave us that power to speak and create. So I'm just speaking from my beliefs. This is my belief, right?
Mhm.
Um, so thank you, Corey. Corey says, how true, Alicia and Karim. Thank you. Great points. And then Angelica says, hi, I'm just seeing this. So happy to be here. Thank you for joining, Angelica. Do you have anything to add on that first part?
Oh my
I
gosh.
know so
This
much.
first part, girl, like this is, it's so true. And the creative power that we have behind it, right? And it's exactly what like you're reading. And I have the book, so I'm following along with you. And it's just the manifestation. Like we don't understand. It's almost like we don't gather it is the fathom of just understanding that every word that we say has an intention, has a vibration that
Yeah.
creates something. And as simple or as nonchalant that you can make a statement or a comment, it is still manifesting something
Yes.
in this life, right?
I want
And
to I want to make the ask again because I see more people on. If anyone
Mhm.
wants to come on and join this conversation, just say me, Angelica. If you want to come on and join, if you're in a position where you can join in, just put me in the chat, and I will send you the link to come on in and continue this conversation. But yeah, keep going, keep going.
Yeah, no, so it's just the manifestation that happens. And most of the times we think that we manifest only, and not necessarily manifesting. Most of the time we feel that the results are happening because of something that we are doing. But the majority of people don't realize that it's not just the actions, it is the
Mhm.
vibration, the intention, the thought, right? And then the
Right.
thought leads to that emotion, and that emotion leads to what we say and how we express ourselves. And so every word that you're saying is always creating something.
Yeah.
And if you can remind yourself of that on a regular basis, more often than not, can you imagine the shift in your life that you can have?
Oh, wow. That's powerful. So I'm going to keep reading until I see Angelica come on in. But the word is a force, which is what we've been talking about. It is the power you have to communicate, to think, and thereby to create the events in your life. The word is the most powerful tool you have. But like a sword with two edges, your word can create the most beautiful dream, or your word can destroy everything around you.
Mm,
One edge of the sword is the misuse of the word, which creates a living hell. The other edge is the impeccability of the word, which will only create beauty, love, and heaven on earth.
so good.
Wow.
It's so.
Um, and this brings us to the law of polarity too. The
Mm-hmm.
two-edged sword.
Yeah.
We could go on and on.
Girl,
But
we
I
can keep
want you
this
to talk as I
conversation for
bring
hours.
Angelica on, because I want Angelica's position on this too. I want you to talk about the power of what we just read, the power, the force, the creative force of our word when it comes to loving ourselves. And let me get Angelica here.
Mm.
You go ahead. You can talk.
Oh, okay. Awesome. The love that we can create within ourselves. Um,
You can talk.
oh, okay. Awesome.
Hi.
The love that we can create.
You'll have to mute the Facebook, Angelica. There we go.
Oh, okay. Awesome. The love that we can create.
You'll have to mute the Facebook. There we go.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Yeah, I'll let her mute and then bring her back up.
Okay, awesome. So, the what can we create, right? And this also leads to, obviously, because the words that we are saying is a proof of how we see ourselves. So when he says that we can create this magical life, that we can bring these beautiful dreams into reality, it's all because of the words and the emotions that are attached to those words. But interesting, and like you said, the law of polarity, there's always the opposite to anything.
Mhm.
And when we are in that moment of frustration, when we are creating something because of the reactions that we're having instead of the responses that we're doing, like, that's when we want to be really focused about what words are we using, what emotions are we using, attaching those words with. Because
Mhm.
we're either, it's no different than the choice of either looking at something with faith or looking at something with the opposite, right? Looking at feeling as the victim or feeling as the universe is always working for you. It's like the two different perspectives, but it takes no extra work. It's just a level of awareness, of consciousness for us to be and to hold on to and
Mhm.
remind ourselves continuously, because we create that love, or we bring on the opposite to ourselves.
Right. So, Angelica, thank you so much for joining.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, you're a little low, but we can hear you.
Okay, wonderful. Well, so great to see you. Of course, I love you. I adore you. You are my friend, and you're a luminary for me. You're full of wisdom and spark and all of this. And Karam, I don't know you yet, and unfortunately, I didn't see you from the very beginning. I just saw it, and I say, oh. I got the invitation, and I say I have to jump in, and so here I am. And of course, I'm always courageous. So,
Yes, you always say yes.
so and what I heard you say, Karim or Karam, how do you pronounce your name?
Karam.
Karam.
Karam,
Okay.
it's so nice to meet you.
Yes, nice to meet you too. And the word, I mean, this just triggered me. The word is so much more powerful than most people know, because the word is a frequency, and it travels, and it sends the message not only to your body who believes everything you say, you think, you feel. It's all yes, yes, yes. Your body says, oh, yes, 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 all the time. But it also creates a message that travels like out into the universe and attracts what you are saying, what you're feeling, what you are, it has that attraction to it. And we often forget that. And that's, I believe, is really what manifestation is all about. You manifest all the time, you create all the time. Not always
Nice.
you want, but you do it anyway, so.
Well, listen,
Good.
we've been yapping. I just looked at the time. Can I take a quick break and come back? I saw Corey tried to join us. He got knocked out, but he'll be back. But let me take a quick break. We've only like touched the surface of the first agreement. And
How
we'll
many are
be
you
right.
expecting to do here?
Yeah, I know.
You go through all 4 agreements?
I don't know that we'll get to all 4,
No
but
way.
we'll continue the show another time and continue to talk about it. But let me take a quick break so we can pay the sponsors, so the sponsors get their money's worth here.
Okay, all
All
right.
right.
Yes, of course.
The Love My Body, Love Myself show is produced by Red Carpet CEO and brought to you by Audacious Concepts, Inc. Audacious Concepts, Inc. is a boutique consulting firm that specializes in providing audacious solutions to your nagging and persistent people issues clogging your revenue pipeline. For more information, visit audaciousconceptsinc.com. If you'd like a copy of Age with Audacious Confidence with 21 plus tips on how you can look and feel younger, go to our link tree at linktr.ee/acouri and get your copy. Now here's a word from our other sponsors.
Are you curious about marijuana? Florida A&M University established the Medical Marijuana Education and Research Initiative, also known as MARY, to educate the public about medical marijuana use as well as the detrimental health and social impacts of unlawful marijuana use on local communities. Empower yourself with knowledge. Find out more at mmeri.famu.edu. mmeri.famu.edu. MARY. Educate, learn, talk.
Well, welcome back to Love My Body, Love Myself. I am your host, Alicia Couri, and we've been having a phenomenal conversation here. This is a free fall show today. I'm talking about the 4 agreements. We're talking about the agreements that we've made with ourselves that really hinder ourselves from loving our bodies and loving ourselves unconditionally with just the perfect love. And so we're still on agreement 1. I know we're halfway through the show, more than halfway through the show, and we're still on agreement 1. But let me tell you the 4 agreements again. Number 1, be impeccable with your word, which is the most important. Number 2, don't take things personally. Number 3, don't make assumptions. Oh my goodness, that's a big one. I think we're going to have to do a whole show on 2 and 3. And number 4, always do your best. I'm going to read just a quick quote from Leland Val van der Waal. I have it right in front of me so that I remember this every day. It says, the degree to which a person can grow is directly proportional to the amount of truth he can accept about himself without running away. So we're talking some truth today, where I have some guests that from the audience. We just pulled them from the audience. They raised their hand and said, me, I want to be a part of the show. So let me bring them back on. We have Karam, hey. We have Angelica, and Corey joined us. Hey, Corey. So we've heard from all the ladies. We've heard from all the ladies. Now I would love to hear your perspective, Corey, on the first agreement, which is be impeccable with your words.
Well, like for me, just listening, I haven't had a chance to read the book, but just listening and getting a grasp of what y'all was saying, I think like your word is everything. It's just an extension of you. So whether in business or personal, like how you conduct yourselves, like from making appointments, whether through Zoom, whether through phone or whatever, just to be on time. And I think it's all an extension of you. Because like me, I can't tell you how many times that it means to be on time, to be a man of your word. And I tell that sometimes to some of my business contacts and partners and everything else, that it is so important that we keep our word, because
Mhm.
it is just a extension of you. In, in
So
other words,
let
so
me ask you this question too, Corey, because we've we've been talking mostly as well about, yes, we can keep our verbal word to someone else, but how do we keep the word to ourselves when it comes to loving yourself, um, to self love? So what kind of comments do you have on that word that we have internally for ourselves?
well, that means, as you say, like self-care. I mean, doing the things for yourself, and also have that balance. Because because you can work, but if you don't have that balance to say, okay, I need to sometimes slow down, sometimes I need to speed up. So to me, when it comes to self-care, it's also about where you are in your mind, so that you don't get too far out of place with what you got going on, whether it's family, whether it's friends, whether it's business, whether it's church, whatever it makes you. And so just to have those balances and say, hey, if I'm doing too much, I'm going to burn myself out. So I got to make sure that my word and loving myself goes hand in hand, and
Mm-hmm.
everything else. And also the other side of that is not to take so much time for yourself that you don't have time to give to others, because it is a true balance of like loving yourself and loving the people around you as you would want to be loved too, because those things to me are equally as important. So like if I make a word to my mom, for example, like, hey, like she's taught me like through the years, like, Corey, even if the word hurts you a little bit, like you should make every effort to make sure that you're keeping it, and that you're valuing your word, because people look at you. Because, and just for me, I just felt like that's something that really needs to always be addressed, is that making sure that your word is an extension of you. So when you think of Corey, like, or when you think of Alicia, when you think of Karen, or when you think of Angelica, like
Angelica.
uh,
Mm-hmm.
Angelica, my bad. So, my bad.
Okay, and that's okay.
Yeah, well, yeah, but pretty much, I just wanted to just say uh, like it's so important that we do keep our word, and just making sure that we stay cognizant and mindful of our word. Now, the
Yeah,
things that we say and we don't say is just as much as important. So, and to
thank
make
you.
sure that we're doing everything possible. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So, anyone have any other? Because I want to move on to agreement number two, which I think is like another mic drop.
Alicia, I think there's one more thing that when I was reading a little bit further, that
Mm-hmm.
was really, really profound. And it's our words can either give us freedom and light and space within our heart, or it can enslave us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you think about the contrast, I think it makes you more aware be, to choose words that are going to serve you instead of hold you in this space of doubt and fear and stress and anxiety. And
Mm-hmm.
we should use our emotions to to become aware of what is the thoughts and words that we are saying that is creating these emotions within us. And I think that's really profound for anybody to just kind of take that little glimpse and bring clarity and ease into your life.
Yeah, I totally agree. That is, I mean, everything about that's written in this book is powerful.
Mm.
Angelica, any additional comment?
No, but it's a pity that I don't have the book here. It has been so many years, probably a decade and a half, when I read the Four
Mm,
Agreements. I still have it, but I maybe since I didn't know I would be on here and you're doing
I
this.
know. Well,
But
listen. No, sorry. Go ahead. I'll say what I was going to say after.
no, but I do remember, and I mean, really, the area of work that we are in to uplift humanity and to bring out the best in our clients and the best in our family. I mean, whoever we are in contact with means that we have to bring the best out into our from ourselves
Yeah. Well,
first. So,
that's agreement number 4. You
oh,
skipped ahead. You
I'm
skipped
sorry.
ahead to agreement number 4.
Okay, all right.
I know we're probably just going to get to the next one because we're almost out of time. But let's talk about don't take things personally.
Oh,
And Couri, you were absolutely right about,
that's a big
self-love,
one.
when you can love yourself, when you can be true to your word, to yourself, and think about self-love, you can then give to others more freely. And but he says here, personal importance, or taking things personally, is the maximum expression of selfishness because we need to make the assumption that everything is about me. If I take it personally, that means it's all about me. That means if there's traffic on the road and I get offended, the traffic showed up to offend me. That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
when we take things personally.
I
then
don't think
we don't take responsibility
Yeah.
for anything. We are in victim mode. What do you say about that, Angelica?
Well, I mean, we do this unconsciously, right? Because it's just the whole world runs on this. It's all about me, and it's getting worse. I think it has gotten worse. And especially but there is also the other side where we become aware of it and then consciously drop that about me. I mean, this is why so many people have this anxiety. They say, I don't want to sell because, how do I don't want to come across like this and this. It's not about you. It's about your service. And this is the only way to give it. So do it,
Mm-hmm.
And so there is, but I believe that in the generation of the silent ones, the ones that even became before me, before the baby boomers, they grew up being so much more considerate and aware of the needs of everybody, and put themselves into the back burner.
Yeah.
The younger,
it's all about self-sacrifice.
Yes, and the more we go forward in the generations, it's more and more and more about me. It's me. It's me. It's me. And so I think we are at a point, at a crossroad where we really where we must wake up. It's not about me. It's about we, about us, about
But about taking things personally, though, because yes, it's all about. But when you take something personally, you make yourself the victim.
Yes, you make yourself the victim. Yes, but on the other hand, you also make yourself the winner. It's not always about you either. There, it's victimhood and it's the winning as well.
When you take things personally, when you're offended by things, you don't win.
Yeah.
Right. Karam, I know you got a lot to share about this. I know you got a lot to share about this.
So I take it into a different perspective. And for me, when, I am constantly telling my clients, other people's opinions is not really your business. Yeah. It is not. It's not that it's not really. It's not your business. Your business is to focus and put yourself first. And I understand what Angelica is saying. But there's, what my experience in the journey of self-discovery, has been that I pour better, I serve better, I can expand and and do my purpose better when I'm in alignment, when I'm taking care of myself. And the one thing that I have learned is that why it's not my business, other people's opinions, is because they are reacting to the agreements that they have embodied, that they may not be conscious of how it affects them. Therefore, their reaction is consistent.
Mhm.
But
So I think the just the word that he said here, that the maximum expression of selfishness is to assume that everything is about me. I don't want to muddy anything about, because self-care is not selfish.
Right.
Taking care of yourself first is not being selfish. But when you get offended and you take things personally, and you that is a signal that you believe everything revolves around you. That
Mhm.
you believe that somebody did something to you. You took it personally. If you're in a conversation with someone and they say something, uh, they might not have meant anything, no ill intention, but they said something and you grabbed a hold of that and you took offense to that, and you're like, "What did you say to me?" And you start to get offended by something that they said because you took it personally when they had no intention of directing that specifically to you. That's when that becomes selfish, because that's the mind, your mind is thinking, they are doing something to me.
They are triggers.
Exactly.
It
Sometimes
triggers, yeah, that
And
they're
it's a
doing something to
reaction.
me.
it's a
Yeah.
real.
And that's when the person is reacting,
Yeah.
which is, where you want
Rather
to
than responding, right?
instead
Reacting.
of responding. Exactly,
Yeah.
responding. Because if you take a step back and you allow yourself to have the space to analyze, you understand that it's not about you,
Yeah.
and you have options because we have a choice of how to choose something that is being delivered, something that is being said. You can either choose to make it serve you or play against you.
Hmm. I had a situation just recently where I was in a meeting. I was chairing a meeting, and someone said something to me, and I had this conversation with them today. Said something to me that I could have taken it personally because they directed it directly at me. That's something that I should have done. Um, and I was saying to them, yeah, I could have taken that personally. The way you said it to me in this meeting in front of everybody, I could have taken that personally, and I could have been like, well, you didn't tell me to do that, and how am I supposed to know? And I could have gotten all my feathers all in a ruffle instead. But like you said, Karen, I took a step back. I felt the emotion, I felt the,
Mhm. Yeah.
but instead of reacting to what they said to me in front of everybody, I just said, what was my responsibility here as the leader here in this organization, in this particular position that I'm in?
Hmm.
Yes, they're right. I could have done such and such. I didn't think of it. Nobody told me I could do that, but I could have done that. So, as soon as we get off of here, let me rectify that and do it.
Mm.
So instead of then being offended and then taking issue with that person, I took issue with myself, took responsibility for the actions that I didn't take, even though I didn't know. I cannot sit in ignorance and say, well, I didn't know. Nobody told me. I just said, you know what? That's true. I didn't know, but now I know. So let me now take the action that I could have taken
Yeah.
that I didn't know about.
Yeah.
So he did not say it to offend me. He was just saying it to me,
Hmm.
but I didn't take it personally.
Yeah. You
That's the
responded
difference.
as a leader. You responded as a
Right.
leader.
But that's the difference in not, and it's not to toot my horn, it's just to show as an example that in that moment, as I felt the emotion of it, because it was like, oh, it's like I felt the emotion of it, but we don't always have to react to the emotion that we feel and direct it and like spit it back at someone as daggers. We could now sit back, and this is from years of self-development, of personal development, learning to take responsibility for my own stuff and not to take things personally. So that's just my little example of
And
not
that
taking something personally.
and that's powerful, Alicia, because we're never going to avoid the emotion. We're always going to experience the emotion because we're humans. We're here to experience, right? But it's how we respond to it that makes a complete difference. Because if you think about it, if you would have reacted, that would have gone through a whole different, and that person probably would have been like, oh, where is that coming from? Like, it would have absolutely no clue of why you are reacting that way.
And it would have taken our meeting 10, 15 minutes off track.
Oh, absolutely.
Down a rabbit
Probably
hole
more.
that we had no business going down. Instead,
Mhm.
I just had to like, let's continue the meeting and let me deal with myself and my stuff, and not like, I didn't even have to think, because of years again of this is where's this coming from, and no, I just like, okay, I didn't do it, I didn't know, now I know, let me do. End of story. And so I had this conversation. This happened last week, and I had this conversation today. And he was like, "Yeah, you could have, because there's someone else that we both know that does take everything personally, and it becomes a challenge. But they're not in the same group. But and we're like, yeah, that could have been avoided. All of this could have been avoided. And that happens in business all the time. Things can be avoided if we don't react out of emotion and we think, let's not take this personally. It wasn't an attack on me personally. Even if it was a personal attack on you, don't take it personally.
Yeah, you have a choice.
Personally. You have a choice.
And usually, if it is a personal attack, it's never about you.
It's never about you.
It's about that person and what they are going through, what they're experiencing, what the shadow work that they need to work on. It's never about you.
If someone calls you a name, when I was growing up, and I tell my kids this all the time. If someone calls you a name, if someone called me a name and I don't identify with it, going back to the first one about your words, if that's not me, I don't respond to it. I don't answer back. They're not talking about me. They're not talking about me. I don't know who they're talking about. I could be the only person in the room, but I'm like, I don't know who you're talking about, but it's not me. And I just don't take it. So we have to not take the bait.
Which is an agreement, right?
That's an agreement, yes.
Yes,
Anything you have to add, Couri?
Well, I was listening. I'm saying I'm still working on that part. Like how not take things personal. Personally, I'm like, oh wow.
We're all working on it, Couri. We're all working on it.
Oh yeah.
But I think sometimes for me, it's just like when you're in business, and I relate it back to business. It's like
no, I want you to relate it to self-love, because this show is love my body, love myself. So I don't want you to relate it to business. I want you to relate it to self-love.
Okay. Well, that last part that you were saying about name calling. I was thinking about like some of the names I was called growing up. So, and I knew that it wasn't true about me at all, but it still hurt. And I kind of was just like, okay, like just to endure and everything else, and went to my best. But then when you have like the whole world against you, then how you don't take it personally and everything else. So I mean, well, luckily as I got older, I knew and everything else. I just kind of like, okay, like.
I'm going to pause you for a second, Couri. I'm going to pause you for a second, because I don't know if Angelica or Karim picked up on what you said when he said it seems like the whole world
Mhm.
is against
Hmm.
you.
Yes. And so,
Anybody want to
and then
comment on
you
that before you go on, Corey? I want to hear from these other two about that. When you feel like
yeah.
the whole world is saying that about you.
Mhm.
Mm. Well, I mean, Corey, and I don't, I, you know, being conscious of just with the fact of what you just said, when the whole world is against you, it's mostly of what position are you putting yourself in the sense of victim, or are you seeing it in the sense of what is happening? What is your focus? What are you giving attention to? When you give attention to what is everybody is doing or what everybody is saying or whatever, you're not living within yourself. You're living life outside of yourself. Therefore, you see things as it's happening to you and not for you. But when you touch and you align yourself and you know what happens with this is it's not something that you gain skills over overnight, but it's what are you constantly putting or feeding your mind to help you and empower you that things are always working for you, and that you actually have the choice to silence or to minimize the outside noise because you know the truth within yourself. And when you start to change that emotion and you start to shift it, you start to see miracles happen and you start to see how things are, something is showing up for you. But if you focus on what's happening on the outside, you will always be focused on what is not happening to you instead of what is happening to you.
For you.
And I think he's shifted a lot of that from because I did stop him. He was going to continue on that to talk about, not taking things personally as much. But I just wanted to highlight that part because I know there are some people that feel like everybody's against them or the whole world is um,
Yeah.
saying these things about them. Because what's happening is your reticulating activating system is actually allowing you to only see that, and it's bringing more of that into your reality instead of like what Karim said. If you're focusing on that, more of that is going to come into your reality. You have to shift your focus,
Remember,
and then your reality shifts.
just remember this statement, if anything, Corey, is what you focus, you are inviting. So if you're focusing on what's not happening, that's exactly the frequency and the vibrations, the people, the lack of opportunities or the lack of connection that you're having. But when you start to focus on no matter how hard your day is, if you just start to focus that you woke up this morning, that you're breathing, that you have a job, that that you came in here and you were surrounded by us and that we poured on you, you start to focus on the good, you start to see more of
More.
the good. Because what you're doing is you're taking life away from the darkness and you're pouring the light and the energy into your light, into your faith, into your being. And that's it sounds simple and it can be simple. Just remind yourself, where is my focus? If if I can see right now and point out that this happened to me, it's because I'm focused on what's not happening. So then just ask yourself, how do I want to feel? And when you ask yourself the question, how I want to feel, the answer is going to be, I want to feel good. Okay, well, what does good mean? And simmer on what that is. And you start to shift the emotions within you.
Nice. Angelica, we're out of time, but I'm going to let y'all talk.
Okay. Well, I just have one little thing to say about that, and I totally agree with everything you said, Karim. That was really This is what I would have said as well. And then I just heard something just a couple of days ago, and it was so profound. And it was because sometimes we are in that rut that we feel directly punished or attacked, or everything seems to be against us. And if we cannot get into this feeling of bringing ourselves into the focus of what is good and beautiful, we can actually use that energy of retaliating. The greatest retaliation against somebody who wants us to suffer is to feel good.
It's happiness, success.
Happiness. Okay. So I retaliate by saying, great. So, so this
Thank
is
you.
thank you. So and immediately it shifts for you already. And then you have a path to put yourself into the focus on something better. But don't even allow this to come to you. Accept it. Turn it around. Say, wonderful. I'm going to do something with this. And this is what I do for me right now. So you have the power to put yourself in any state you want. And sometimes it can be a retaliation. Sometimes it can shooting back.
And that's funny, when if someone says something negative to you, someone says something even maliciously to offend you, you could just smile and say, thank you for sharing, and just move on. Thank you for sharing. It seemed like you really needed to get that out.
You stop them right.
You really needed to say that. So thank you. Say what you had to say, but you don't have to accept it. You don't personally have to accept anything. Like Karen said, it's none of your business. It's like what you have to say, your opinion of me, whatever you have going on in your life right now in your head directed at me is none of my business. So just say, thank you for sharing. Appreciate it. I appreciate you. I hope that helped you. I hope that helped you, and I release it and I move on. All right, I got to shut the show down. So, Couri, did you have any more to say?
Oh no,
Since I interrupted you?
Just thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm glad my husband didn't come in yet.
Great conversation. We only got to the first two. I'll reiterate, it's the last two is don't make assumptions, which is another big thing. We create stories and we make assumptions and create stories around everything, again, that have nothing to do with us. Someone didn't call you. All of a sudden you have this huge story about, why they didn't call and what's wrong with me and blah, 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 blah. That which goes right back to not being impeccable with your word, because now you start thinking and you start taking things personally, and it's a vicious cycle. And then the last one is always do your best and always better your best. So if you thought you did your best today, tomorrow better your best.
It's all 1% better every day.
1% better every day. So thank you all for joining me. I appreciate you.
This was so much fun.
Yeah. Let me shut the show down. And hopefully we can do this again.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And wait for 3 and 4.
Pull up the book again and read it again.
Yeah. And we'll have another discussion about it.
Okay.
All right.
Love you so much. Bye-bye.
Love you
Bye,
too.
everyone.
Bye.
Wow. That was an amazing conversation that we had. Hey, I just saw, Lady G and Ali. Glad I caught these gems. I'm so glad you joined us too. Ali, thank you so much. Well, you can always watch it again, but I'm glad that you were able to jump in even in the last moments. But thank you all so much. This was an amazing conversation. We went a little bit longer today because we have we ended up with 4 people. I started with solo mio. I started with me only, and I made the ask open on the air. I said, anybody watching live that wants to come and join this conversation, and you all did, which is amazing. So I just really quickly, let me just go back and just do a little bit of closing housekeeping. So if you want to join our group on Facebook, it's facebook.com/groups/LMBLM. The Love My Body, Love Myself show is sponsored by Fam You Marry and Audacious Concepts Inc. and produced by Red Carpet CEO. Listen, I continue this conversation about confidence on Win Win Women TV, on Unleash Your Audacious Confidence on Win Win TV, Win Win Women TV. Sorry, it is every Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern. So go ahead and check that out. I am live 5 p.m. on Mondays, winwinwomen.tv. And also Small Business Saturday shout out. If you want to shout out your business, if you're a business owner, please join us. Be a guest on Small Business Saturday shout out every first and third Saturdays of the month. If you want to be a guest on any of our shows, you can come to support at AliciaCouri.com to be a guest on any of our shows. So I will, let me think if there was anything else I want to share before I say goodbye. Please connect with me you can connect with me. You can email to connect with me, or you can connect with me, Alicia360.com. Love you all. Thank you so much for being a part of the show today. Mwah, 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 mwah. Thank you to our impromptu guests that raised their hand and said, me, I want to come on the show. I've never done this before on Love My Body, Love Myself, but it was tremendous fun. It was a great time, and I'm glad that you raised your hand to come on board. Thank you, Karem. Thank you, Angelica, and thank you, Couri, for being my impromptu guest today. I will see you next Wednesday. We'll have an amazing guest for you again on Love My Body, Love Myself. If you want, grab this book. What did I do? It's right in front of me. The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. It is an amazing little book, and it has so many applications to your life that you probably never even thought of. So grab a hold of the book, and I will see you next time on another episode of Love My Body, Love Myself. And I want to encourage you to do something, one thing, even if it's to grab this book and start being impeccable with your word. Do one thing this week, every day this week, that proves to yourself that you love your body and you love yourself. And I will see you next time on another episode. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Bye, everybody.